How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all enjoying your night. It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2019. I'm coming back with another video again. This is actually my third video so far. I hope you guys are enjoying all the videos or all the content that I'm putting out there for you. I hope it's informative to you. I hope it helps you in some sort of way to expand your mind or expand your knowledge about the willingness to think differently. I do really want to promote that idea to all of you because I believe that it is the key to succeeding in life. When we're speaking about making money. So today I want to speak a little bit about the idea of the education system and how I believe that it is corrupt. A lot of people actually believe that it is corrupt, and I think that what we're teaching our kids today is not the correct method of teaching. So I want to go into a little bit. So I want to say first of all that I think the education system is corrupt. Some people might disagree with me, but I think it is corrupt, and we're not teaching our kids the right methods. So the first reason I think that we are teaching our kids incorrectly, and when it comes to traditional school, and by traditional school I mean like public schooling, so things like that where you go to a normal school with other kids, sit in a classroom, you're taught by a teacher, maybe just 20, 25, 30 kids in the classroom. So I want to talk about why I think what we're being taught in school is not necessary for what you need in daily life. So if you think about some of the things you learn in school, let's go back to maybe grade school going into middle school. I guess even high school would kind of fall into this too. But when you think about a lot of the things that we learned in school in general, from K through 12, majority of the things that they taught us in school are, you don't use it in daily life. They teach you a lot of things that are like, oh wow, that's great to know about that, but how is it really going to help you when you succeed in life once you go out of school? Because when I was in school, for example, I'll use my experience to kind of go off of. When I was in school, I learned a lot of stuff, all kinds of different things, a lot of stuff I honestly can't even remember. I took physics class, I took history classes, I took all kinds of different English classes. I guess English might be a little bit different. There are some things, or a lot of things in English that are very helpful to you once you get out of school. But a lot of things that I learned, biology class, things like that, once you get out of high school and you go into the real world of just working, depending on the type of workplace you work at, I guess, but in generally speaking is what I'm going off of, I don't think a lot of the stuff that they teach us you really need. I would say maybe nearly 70% of the stuff that we learn is not really necessary to help you once you get out into the real world. And when you're in school, like for example, when I was in school, knowing what I know now about how the education system is corrupt, I didn't think about it when I was younger, and obviously you're naive, you're just doing what everybody's telling you to do, which is go to school. So when I was in school, I remember learning all these different things, and I remember actually sometimes thinking like, oh man, how is this going to help me in life when I get out? Because I would see my mom, my dad, other people around me, friends' parents, where they would just get a job, and that's all they would do. They would just go to work, come home, hang out with their family, and that was it. And I thought some stuff like, oh well, what is knowing about the Great Civil War, if was it 1867 or whatever it is, 1871, somewhere in there. How does that help me in daily life? Like how do these types of things contribute to maybe help me in the workplace, or help me grow as an adult? Because I feel like there's a big difference between being an adult and being a kid. When you're a kid, you have less responsibilities. You don't have a lot of things to worry about. Once you become an adult, you start getting a job, you start learning about making money, you learn that if you don't manage your money, that you run into a lot of problems. You don't make enough money, which is the reason why I'm talking in these videos about you guys. you start to run into those kinds of problems that when I was in school, nobody prepared me for that. Nobody prepared me for the types of issues that I run into now, which I think kind of is what made me want to learn about these types of things, is because I realized that once I got out of school and I just started working, if you watched I think it was my first video, this is video number 3, by the way. If you watched my first video, I actually spoke about that, where I just jumped straight into working, and that's all I did. I just worked and worked and worked, and the reason why I feel like that was the right choice at the time was because obviously I decided not to go to college, but when I was in school, all I wanted to do was just get out and make money. I remember thinking towards my junior year and senior year, I was like, you know what? I want to just go make money. I don't want to sit here in class, learn about something that's not doing anything for me. I remember thinking that. I remember doing tests. What do they call those? The big exams at the end of the year, not the finals, but there's some sort of curriculum testing. I forget what they call it. And we had to do that nearly almost every year, if I remember correctly, mainly in high school. And you had to do that to pass in order to go on to the next year, right? ASVAB or something, I might be wrong, not ASVAB, I think that's for military, something like that, I can't remember the name. And I remember thinking to myself, while I'm doing this test, I'm just thinking, man, like I could be out making money right now, I could be out doing something with my life, yet I'm sitting here doing a test about history or about a bunch of different subjects that, from what I see, and by that age, by the time you're like 10, 11 years old, you're starting to learn or understand that once you become an adult, all it is about just making money, really. You don't do a whole lot other than make money. Other than spend time with your family and hang out, things like that, build a life, you're kind of just working. You're not doing anything else. So I just remember thinking like, well, how is this going to help me? So I was already thinking that at a young age before I even got out of high school. Then that's when I just jumped in straight to just working, and that's all I did. And I just remember thinking to myself sometimes, like, why did I go through learning about all that stuff if it doesn't really help me in daily life? So that's kind of what I mean, and I'm sure everybody could kind of agree with me on that. Not everybody will, but depending on what you're trying to do with your life, a lot of the stuff that you learn is really not useful to you. So what I kind of thought about was, why go through all that and learn those things if you could just learn what's really important? And I'll talk about that in a little bit, and this video will kind of as well talk about unschooling also, but first I'm going to finish up with education and why I think it's corrupt. So I will explain unschooling to you guys in a little bit. If you haven't heard about that in my other videos, I'm going to go into that a little bit more and kind of open your minds to the idea about unschooling. But first, I also want to talk about, let's see here, the government wanting you to be an employee, okay? I want to speak to you guys about that too, because if many of you guys don't know, if you should, but there's some people out there that don't know about this. The government wants you to go to, the government controls, they regulate education. They control the education that we learn. So when you go to school and you go through all these curriculums and you learn these different things, they want you to learn those things. Why? I don't know why. I really don't know why. But what I do know is that the things that they want you to learn are not only extremely old, outdated material. We might be learning stuff that was taught in the 60s or the 70s. These are extremely outdated. There's been some, I think some studies done on Harvard, where Harvard was teaching people information that was 20, 30 years old, and that doesn't work in today's world. We've changed as a society greatly over the last 10, 15, 20 years, even from the millennium up, from 2000 up. These last 18, 19 years have really changed a lot of our lives. We're on smartphones now. When I was a kid, I didn't have a smartphone. I think I got my first phone when I was, I want to say I was around 11 or 12 years old, and I got my first cell phone. Not even a smartphone, it was a cell phone. It was a Nokia, a little. They called them brick phones back in the day, where you could throw them around and do whatever, and they wouldn't break. So I had a phone like that. They were black and white screen and all that. So, back in the day, that's what I had. So the government, I'm kind of getting off topic here, but anyway, the government wants you to be an employee. Okay, they don't train people to be entrepreneurs. That's why no matter what you do, and I'm going to reference this, I spoke to my my good friend Andres, or in Spanish, compadre, godfather of my son. I spoke to him earlier, and he said I could reference this. I'm going to go ahead and reference it for you guys. He went to college. He has a bachelor's in business, and he actually he asked me to reference for you guys the fact that he took an entrepreneurial class. So think about this. He took a class for entrepreneur or entrepreneurial studies. And he said that majority of that class, from his experience, he's learned more from me about entrepreneur, or about being an entrepreneur, than he did in that class. And I understand it's just one class, right? But he said that in that class, he learned more about, what was it? Something to do with English and composition and stuff like that. It was more just kind of teaching you, book stuff, like what you learn in regular school. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm in here in the class to learn about being an entrepreneur, why am I learning this stuff? So he basically claims that he learned nothing from that class. He learned more by being around me. Him and I are good buddies. He was here in Las Vegas for a while, and he learned a lot from me. And he said that he claims that he learned more from me than he did from school. So there's another one for you. The government, like I said, they want you to be an employee. They want you to go to school, and they want you to go through this training phase of preparing you to become an employee once you get out of school. They don't want you to become, a rich entrepreneur. They want you to be an employee of a corporation. That's why they prepare you for that. That's something that I'll go into as well. That's what college is designed for. College is designed to create employees. It is not designed to create entrepreneurs. When you go to college and you let's say you want to become a say an architect or something. You want to become an architect. When you go to school to become one, you get your degree and you become an architect, and that's it. It's still a job. Everybody likes to disguise it with a career. And I remember when I was younger, I used to get all kinds of, I used to hear ads and stuff. Go to this school and get your career, gain your freedom, and make all kinds of money, and do what you love, of course, is how they get you. Do what you love. Now, I'm not saying that college is a bad option. I'm not saying don't do it. I just think that if people want to go to college, they need to be very passionate about what it is that they're going to go into, because you got to think all the money you're going to put into your training, your learning. You're going to spend a lot of money, nearly put yourself in thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of debt to gain some knowledge in something. So if you're going to invest that much money into it, and that is your own money, you will spend it, pay it back when you're done. You need to make sure that that's 100% what you want to do with your life. And a lot of people are not. A lot of people have gotten burned by doing that. But to me, the main problem that I see with it is, some people will go and get $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, maybe more in debt, going to school to learn about a particular, career, get their degree, come out, and it takes them years upon years upon years. Some people never pay it back. That's why they started creating debt forgiveness plans through insurance agencies, or not insurance, the loan agencies that give you your school loan. They started creating that because people can't pay them back. So again, if you're going to continue on with school, if you're going to go to college, you really need to think about that, because it's a huge decision you're going to make. One of the biggest decisions you'll make in your life, aside from buying a house or something like that. It's a huge expense you're going to make. So it's something to think about. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, when you're in school, how I kind of talked about how when we're in school we don't really learn what's important. Here's what I think is the most important thing to learn: how to make money, how to pay your taxes, and how to manage your money. Those are some of the most important things that I think that we need to learn. And does anybody know why we don't learn that in school? Well, the reason why is because, like I said earlier, the government wants you to become an employee. Here's the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. Employees don't need to know about money. They don't need to know how to use money. Well, they can spend their money, but they don't need to know how to use it, how to acquire it. All they need to know is how to work, and when they work, they get money for it. Entrepreneurs have to know how to make money. If you don't know how to make money, you won't succeed as an entrepreneur. That's the whole point of these videos. These videos are designed to help you open your mind, and like I said in my very first video, I talked about the box on the head theory. You need to remove that box off of your head in order to see things the way that you need to see them, such as understanding that the education system is corrupt. I feel like I see that because I've gotten the box off my head. I realize that the government is designed, or they've designed the education system to keep people poor. They want you to become an employee because the entrepreneurs, the private investors, the really rich people, I'm talking, these are the people like on Shark Tank, for example. These investors are the people who are creating, jobs, schools, homes, apartments, places where you live, hotels. These are the people who create these things for us. And then when they create them, we need people to fulfill those positions to run those facilities. So we need way more people. We need 99% of the population needs to be an employee to run all these places. That's kind of the whole thing. It's a little bit off topic, but that's the whole issue with all these jobs going overseas and stuff like that. That's a different, story, but that's kind of the point here, or part of it is we need jobs, to run the economy, to keep the economy flowing. So that's why the government wants you to be an employee. So from the minute you were born and you get thrown into the regular education system, this public schools, they teach you from the very beginning of kindergarten all the way up to your last year of high school, even going into college, they brainwash you into believing you'll only be an employee. They don't want you to expand your mind because they need you to be an employee, because they need you to fill those positions. Now, is it bad to be an employee? That's up to you. That's up to you to decide. We all know how that feels. I worked for about 10 years, I want to say, 10, 11 years, 12 years, 11 years, something like that, before I realized that I did not want that for my life. I only did it because that's all I knew. But if you watch my very first video, I talk about a man who opened my mind, who talks about the box on the head theory, and that is Ed Ingles. Ed is a wonderful, brilliant man who got the box off my head and made me see what I see today, which is why I'm teaching you guys. So I hope you guys can give thanks back to him as well, and appreciate the fact that that he did what he did, so I can help you do the same. And I guess that's a little something I'll talk about here. It's a little bit off topic, but it's something I'd like to talk about with you guys and share with you that I haven't really said yet now that I think of it. Sorry if the camera's kind of shaking. It's on a tripod and it's a little windy out here, but something I wanted to share with you guys is, one day I spoke to him and I said, Ed, you know what? You gave me the tools, you gave me the power to expand my mind and to become something more. And for that, excuse the plane going by, I said, and because that, I want to, I promise you I will give back to you one day. You will be one of the first people that will receive something back once I achieve great success. And he said, you know what? He said, the only thing that I want you to do is the same thing that I did for you. I want you to go back and I want you to help somebody. help the world, help somebody achieve something better than what they had. Do the same thing that I did for you. And I thought, you know what? At some point, I was like, well, what a better way to help other people out than to put out videos like this? Because maybe I can help many, many people. I know I'm just very, very much just getting started on this. I haven't been doing this for a long time, and I will get better at it. I promise, I will get better at it. But I think it's a great start for me, and to fulfill what he wants me to do, which is to help other people. So I do hope these videos help you. I know not everybody comments, and I hope that more of you do. If you enjoy these, please comment, please share your ideas, and leave me some information, whatever you want to leave me, whatever can help everybody else out. If there's something more we can talk about, leave me something. I'd appreciate it. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, so we talked about college a little bit and how, like I said, it's expensive. And it's not for everybody, but for the people that do want to go to college, just, make sure you know what you want to do. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. Getting a job is, to me, I think one of the worst things you can ever do, because the minute you start accepting a paycheck, it becomes really hard to get out of it. But we all have to do what we have to do. We have to make money to survive. You got to do what you got to do. So again, that's what these videos are designed for, to help you break apart from that and make you realize that you can make money on your own. So that is why I think the education system is corrupt. I hope I covered majority of the reasons why. I hope I explained it properly. This is a little bit more kind of difficult to create a video on or explain to you guys, because it's something that's kind of obvious to everybody, but at the same time it's not. Because if it was that obvious, I would stop putting my kid in school right now. So and that's something I'm going to go into in a minute. But with school, it's designed to create employees, and they teach you a lot of stuff that you don't need to know. So school is just, it's run by the government. You don't always know what you're learning, why it matters to you. And I ask myself the same thing all the time. I was like, why am I learning this? I don't get it. And I actually really didn't like school much. I did okay. I graduated with like a 3.5 or something like that, 3.4. I didn't do the best, but I didn't do horrible. I graduated with a pretty good GPA, but I really didn't enjoy school, and I feel like that was really the main thing for me, was that I just didn't see any benefit to it. I didn't see how it was really going to help me in real life. And then once I got into real life and I started making money, that's when I realized that I was right, that it really doesn't help you in the way that it should. And here's kind of something I'll go into with education. This is what I think education needs to teach us, and I kind of stated it earlier. But what we need to learn in school, the most important thing you need to learn is to get a financial education. And a financial education is teaching you how to make money. Because see, in school they just teach us go to school, go to college, get a job, save your money, things like that. They don't teach you anything beyond that. But no one teaches you how to really make money in life. Because you think about some of the most like some of the richest people in the world, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, people like that. How did they get so rich? You think they just magically got rich overnight? You think, like, what did they do different that you're doing different at your job? Did they just work at a job and work their way up, become a CEO, and now they're millionaires or billionaires? No. They did exactly what school doesn't teach you. They got a financial education. They learned how to make money within the financial system of the government or of America, and if they live here, of course. They learned how the financial system works. See, me, I'm still learning, so I can only give you so much information, and I think that's what's great about these videos is I'm kind of teaching you guys as I go. So if anything, it's a little bit inspirational to you, because I'm not, like I said in one of my other videos, I'm not way at the top. I'm still relatively close to the bottom, so I have a good idea of how things work. I'm not, perfect. I don't know everything yet, but I'm learning more and more every day. And the more I learn, the more information I will give to you guys. And this is what I've learned about school education. It's corrupt. So, like I said, financial education is what I think people need. It's you need to know how to make money in today's economy, not back in the day. Back in the day, everybody went and got a job and that's it. Now today, there's more entrepreneurs being made every day, millionaires being made every day. What are they doing different that you're doing? How are they able to achieve so much success, make so much money, and you're not? It's not by going to a job, I promise you that. It's by becoming an entrepreneur, which is not for everybody, but it's what you have to do. You have to learn how to make money. That's what entrepreneurs do. We go out there every day and we try to figure out how to make money, because nobody will ever just flat out teach you how. School will not teach you how. Nobody will flat out teach you, unless you pay them maybe. If you pay them, they might teach you. But a lot of it you do learning on your own, but you have to be willing to want to learn that. If you're not willing to want to learn it, you won't learn it. You will just go back to work and that's it. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's not what I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to teach people to open their minds. Now, I'm not trying to make everybody entrepreneurs. I'm not trying to tell everybody that you need to make millions of dollars a year to be happy. What I'm telling you is that if you don't enjoy your job, you don't like what you do, you wish you could do something more, that's what these videos are designed to do. These videos are designed to help you open your mind with the willingness to think different than the average person. Because if you keep thinking like other people and you keep going down the same path as other people, you will always be like other people. So you need to be like the not so other people and go the opposite route and learn to think different. And by watching these videos, I hope it will open your mind up enough to understand that it really is about the willingness to think different. Because if you don't learn to think different, you will always think the same as other people, make the same mistakes as them, and always be poor like them. And you'll stay at the same job, you won't enjoy what you do, and you'll never do anything different. So again, that's the point of these videos. So like I said, I hope they do help. I hope if you guys have any questions, please comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. And if there's anything you want to share or add, or something that I can maybe make better or explain to you easier, then please let me know. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to move on to, aside from talking to you about or school education system, I wanted to talk to you about, sorry about the wind coming through here. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was unschooling. So what is unschooling? It's a form of homeschooling, similar to homeschooling, but you do not learn from a curriculum. You do not learn from the government. The government does not teach you to learn. You almost have to think of it as when you're a child, before you go into kindergarten. Before you go into kindergarten, you are unschooling. That's what unschooling is, exactly what that is. From age 0 all the way up to about 5 or so, when kids first go into kindergarten, right? 5 or 6. So what that means is, when you are a child, you can think about it straight from birth. Yes, you are taught from other people around you, but you are mostly taught what you see and do and how you engage and what you learn from. So that's basically what unschooling is. But you do it at an older age, or you could actually start it directly from kindergarten. And to me, this is something I've been greatly interested in. I actually learned about it from, if you watch my video number 2 about the willingness to think different, I go over a blog from a man named Leo Babauta, and he actually talks about unschooling in there, which I never knew about it before. And I didn't even think that could be even something legal. That seems like something that could be illegal. But in the United States, it actually falls under what homeschooling is, and homeschooling is legal. So that means unschooling is legal. I'm not sure if it's legal in every state or every county or anything like that, but it is legal in the United States. So I think unschooling is great because it allows your child to learn at their own pace. They don't learn from a curriculum, from books. Well, they do learn from books, but not like textbooks from a school. They basically don't learn all the crap that I was talking about earlier, that to me, I think to my life was in a lot of ways worthless, because it doesn't do anything for me now. I don't retain any of it. I only retain the important stuff, like adding, subtracting, writing, making sure you spell right, things like that were the things that I retained. Anything else, I didn't really retain it much if it wasn't important to what I do now. So that's what's great about unschooling, is it allows the child to learn only what they want to learn. Instead of learning a bunch of stuff that's not important in life, why not fill all those gaps that you would have gotten in school, where you get all this information that's just not important, but you fill that with nothing but knowledge that's important to your life, that only helps you. Okay? And then if you feel like there's something, if your child feels like there's something that is not important for them to learn at that time, they won't learn it, and they don't need to. They only need to learn what is important. So that's what I love about unschooling. I think it's an amazing idea. Like I said, I definitely will be interested in trying it, at least with my children. I think it's something that could be very beneficial. It's almost something that I wish I knew about as a kid, or my parents knew, so I could have tried it. It could have made me a smarter person, or it could have put me on a track that didn't give me too many different ideas. It almost seems like when you do unschooling, you get a clearer shot of where you want to go, because the more you learn, the more you start to fall in love with something, and then the more you fall in love with something, you know exactly where you want to go. So the sooner that you find out where you want to go, it's a straight shot there, as long as you know the path to where you want to succeed at. Now with school, you literally have to go the whole 12 years or whatever it is, from K through 12, 13 years, whatever, and you got to finish all these things, even though you're like, I don't get why I have to do this, but I have to do it. You come home and you tell your mom, oh mom, I'm doing a science project on frogs or something. But it's like, okay, well, do you want to go, become a scientist and learn about reptiles or something? It's like, no, I actually want to go deal with cars. It's like, okay, you see where I'm going? What's the point? What's the point of learning all that? So see, if you were unschooled, you'd be like, no, all I want to learn about is cars. Obviously, you want to teach them the main things. You want to teach them to read and write. You want to teach them some basic multiplication, at least, things they're going to need in daily life. That's ultimately up for the parents to teach them. So I would only, if I got my kid into unschooling, I would only want them to learn what I think is necessary for life, and then the rest, they go the route they want to go. I think that's the best way to do it, because then, you can imagine if you started learning from a young age, if you were, let's say, 10 years old, and immediately your kid became super interested in, like I said, cars, for example. And let's say they, from that young age, they were like, oh, I love NASCAR. I love Jeff Gordon and all these guys who drive these NASCARs, or the fast cars on the track and whatnot. Then from then on, they'd be focused on that goal of, let's say, becoming a NASCAR driver, or becoming part of a pit crew or something, or that's what they wanted to do with their life. They could get started way sooner than 18 or 20. They could get interested and want to learn more. Much. I like the idea of it, so I think it's a great method of teaching, and I think it's just something that hasn't been explored a whole lot, because a lot of people don't know about it. I mean, I didn't know about it before telling you guys, really. So it's something completely new to me, but I can assure you, I will more than likely give it a shot and see if it makes a difference with my kids. And if it doesn't, if for whatever reason, if something is not right, or it should be, or they don't like it or something, and they want to go to a regular school, and that's fine. One of the things that I thought about that I would probably run into, one of the issues, would be them not having this as much social activity with other kids. So there's a lot of ways around that. There's a lot of ways to take them places where they can go and interact with other kids throughout the day. That you got kids clubs, you got all these different things where they can get their social activities. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe if I didn't, I'll just go ahead and say it. We're actually expecting another baby. I'll go ahead and let everybody know. If I didn't say that in my videos, we are expecting another baby. We are 11 weeks. So I was going to say right now that my son, at least, he'll have a sibling, brother or sister. We're not sure yet. We're 11 weeks, so we won't know for about 9 more weeks until our ultrasound to find out whether it's a boy or a girl, which I will be putting out a nice video for you guys. When we do the gender reveal, we're actually going to do something really cool. So we're going to, if you guys ever heard of tannerite, we're going to go get tannerite. It's basically these little, it's a little container, and you mix it. It creates an explosive, but it only blows up when a bullet hits it. So I'm going to go get my AR-15, and we're going to go out in the desert. We're going to get a bunch of tannerite, probably about 10 to 20 pounds of tannerite. And then we're also going to get some colored chalk, like if you were to get chalk and crush it up into powder, put them in bags, and we'll have blue and pink, depending on what it is. And one of my good friends, or my other compa in Spanish, that's godfather, or I'm the godfather to his kid, so we call each other compadre. So he's actually going to help out and set it up. Luke Villamore. He's actually my friend on Facebook, so if you guys ever talk to him or see him, he's going to help out to set up the tannerite and everything, and then we're going to blow it up, and I'll put a nice video out for you guys. So there's a little gem for you, a little surprise. So we're extremely excited about it. We've been waiting on a kid here for the last year or so. We're like, when's it going to happen? Oh, there it is. So we're happy about it. We're happy it's going to happen. So that's that. And that was completely off topic again, so I'm sorry, but it just came out of nowhere. So anyway, so back to unschooling real quick before I wrap up this video. I think this is kind of a little bit shorter video because I don't feel like there's as much to talk about it. Like I said, some of it is kind of obvious, but some of it isn't. Some of it's not stuff that we're used to seeing or thinking about. So I hope this video was educational in some way. So think about unschooling. Like I said, I'm looking into it more and more and more. I'm not 100% sure whether I want to do it, but I do see the benefits to it. The benefits that I see to unschooling is mainly because, at least for my kid or my kids, the main benefits that I see is because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not your average person. I'm not a an average employee worker where my kids see me go to work, come home. I work from home. I'm self-employed, so my kids don't. My kid right now does not see me say, "Hey, I'm going to work. I'll be back at I'm leaving at 9 in the morning. Come back at 5 or 6." My kids don't see that, so they're gonna see, if anything, more of what I do, and what I do is I'm an entrepreneur. So throwing your kid in a regular public school system, not saying that it's good or bad, but I could see a benefit to doing unschooling is because if I don't put him in the regular school system, the school system is designed to create an employee. If my son is not going to be employee minded because he's going to be around me and my girlfriend Lizette, we're entrepreneurs, so he's going to be seeing a lot of that. He's not going to be seeing us going to work. So he's going to wonder from a very young age why we don't go to work, and he's going to realize that it's because we're entrepreneurs, and he's going to wonder why his friends' parents go to work and why we don't. So from a young age, he's going to understand that. And I think that also, as being unschooled, it could allow him to have more time to learn about being an entrepreneur and whether it's something he wants to do. And if it is something he wants to do, it gives him way more time to learn about what, again, is important. Because if you're in school all day and you're learning to be an employee, the government's going to teach you a bunch of crap that you don't need to know. So that's why I think it could be beneficial to him and also to our other child when the baby's going to be here, probably in early February. So again, yeah, that's my take on unschooling. I hope you guys find interest in it. You can actually go and Google it online. You can go read more about it. You can probably learn a little bit more than what I taught you. But it's just kind of a brief summary about what it is, what it means to me, how I think it could be beneficial to me or even be beneficial to you and your family. It's something to think about if you don't want your kids to be the average, if you want them to be better. You know, we always think about our kids doing better than us in life, and you know, that's how I am. I want my kid, I want my son Junior to do better than me. I don't want him to be like me. I want him to be better than me. You know, we all want our kids to be better than us. So again, it's something to think about. I hope you guys kind of like the idea of it. I think it's kind of cool. It's something at least worth looking into if you have children, to kind of have options, because you know, you have unschooling, which is what I just talked about. You have homeschooling, which is similar to unschooling, but you still go off of a preset curriculum from a school online. So they're still relatively teaching you the same subjects you would learn in a normal school. You're just learning them at home. Then you got regular public school and private school and all that, but they all kind of still teach you the same thing, whether you go to public school, private school, charter school. They're all kind of teaching you the same thing for the most part. They're all teaching you a curriculum, and they're all controlled by the government, and the government wants you to be an employee. They don't want you to be your own person and make your own money, become self-employed and take care of yourself. They want you to rely on other people. They want you to rely, on your job. They want you to rely on the government. They want to keep you there. They don't want you to succeed, which is very sad. So it's, again, I hope this video was very, very informative for you. I hope it helps open your mind a little bit more again. I hope if you watch my other videos, I hope you'll enjoy this one just as much. I think it's very educational to learn about the education system and how it really is, and how maybe you thought it was, but it's really not like that. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this video is about the education system, why I think it's corrupt, and give you guys a little bit of insight about what unschooling is. So take it for what it is, think about it a little bit. My next video coming out, I'm not sure what it's going to be about yet. I should be putting out another video within the next week. So again, hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, you need to think different to be different. Okay, it's all about the willingness to be different and think different than other people. So remember that. Think different, be different. All right, guys. Good night.